We're here. We're live. I don't think anyone's watching yet, so it's fine if we screw this up. The Yankees are currently losing to the Mets 10-2. It's another stellar showing in Citi Field. Like I said, we're doing this live because we have things to do and we can't stay up really late. So, I see people coming in. Hi, people. Hi, everyone. Feel free to comment while we're doing this, and let's throw up the intro. Let's do this.
You are Locked On Yankees, your daily New York Yankees podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Yankees. Like I said, we're live. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day. Thank you for making us your first listen. I'm Stacey Gotsoulias. He's Brian McKeon. This episode is brought to you by Booking.com. Booking.yeah. The right stay can make you a fan of any city, even your rivals. Check out Booking.com for your stay today. Yeah. So another great performance by the Yankees on Wednesday night.
Another game that looked outmatched, right? They didn't look like they competed in this entire game either. I mean, Heel was fine, not great, better than his last start, but that wasn't hard to match.
Yeah.
They looked outmatched again. I mean, the Mets have been hot, we know that, but
and the Mets have been, the Yankees have been really terrible too. It's like they're playing at the worst possible time because the Mets are like here and the Yankees are here. There's no even at all. It's just terrible.
But I mean, they looked outmatched. They looked overmatched. They still look outmatched and overmatched. And same thing as the game last night. Whenever they seem to get close, they give up another 3-run homer.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just, I mean, things are. You keep hearing the comparisons to a couple of years ago, and I don't want to go there yet because it's only been 3 or 4 series, but it's not looking good. They're playing very, very bad baseball.
Speaking of that, couple of comments. Thanks for coming on before the debacle ends and another debacle. So there's the theme. There's the word of the night, debacle. Now, before we really get into this, don't forget, subscribe to our channel, subscribe to the podcast if you're listening to this, because this will eventually become an audio version as well. So subscribe on whichever platform you like to listen to us on. Like our videos, hit the bell so you know when our videos go live and premiere, or when we go live and stream like we are right now. So we're doing this because we both have to go to sleep. I'm traveling, Brian's working, the rain delay screwed things up. So here we are. I don't think this is true, Edwin. Not yet. It's still too early. It really is. They have time to turn it around. They have time to make moves to turn it around. It looks awful right now. There's one stat that I found really interesting that River Avenue Blues put up. 7th time in the last 10 games, the Yankees have allowed 7+ runs. They only did it 7 times in their first 72 games. What the heck, I'll say heck, happened 10 days ago or 10 games ago? I'm trying to remember what shifted everything. Did someone get a voodoo doll with the Yankees jersey on it? Like, what? It just was such a complete 180 from how they were playing. They look like, well, not as bad. They're close to looking like the Chicago White Sox at times. Like, they can't do anything. The only ones who are doing anything are Soto and Judge. If we can get 5 Aaron Judges and 4 Juan Sotos in the lineup, then the Yankees would be unbeatable.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it that bad yet. It's certainly not Chicago White Sox bad. But
no, but they're looking like that at the moment. Like, it's just you know when something happens where they get the bases loaded and they don't, you're like, oh, it's gonna be one of these games. Great. Like,
non-competitive.
You know right away.
They look non-competitive.
Yeah, it's awful.
Like that's the word. It's non-competitive. They're not pitching well. They're not pitching well out of their bullpen. They're not even getting to use their high leverage guys. Nope. Their top pitchers aren't pitching well. The other lineup looks completely overmatched. And they look like they need a catcher, right? I mean, they can't sub anyone on the base paths right now. I don't know why that's. I mean, tonight the genius move Boone came up with to get more runs was to replace Trevino's at bat with Austin Wells, who's hitting 210. You know what I mean? Like they've got. It just feels like past the number 3 or 4 hitter. And it really, honestly, the last couple of days feels like once they get past Judge in the lineup, it's all duds from 4 to 9. And that's what 2022 felt like. And that's what scares me. is you've got a lot of holes in this lineup. And I'm not going to agree with Edwin. I don't think it's necessarily, sky's not falling yet.
No.
Not gonna sit there and say that yet. But it does get late early in the baseball season. You've heard that quote a million times, and it's true. You cannot win the World Series this early in the year, but you can lose it. Sure. And you start getting into the role of these bad habits, and you start pitching this bad, and you start hitting this bad. You see it with the Mets right now, right? Where hitting becomes contagious, right? And you saw with the Yankees early on in the year, right? Where one guy gets hot, and it leads to the next guy getting hot, and it just rolls over down the lineup, which is great to see. But bad play gets contagious too, unfortunately. Like any bad sick, and you're seeing it now with the Yankees. You're seeing lackluster at bats. You're seeing bad at bats. You're seeing a lot of just, unfortunately too, giving up on plays because, and I've loved Verdugo, but Gleyber, it feels like got benched today because of the incident last night, and Verdugo did the exact same thing today. Mm-hmm. So clearly, the message of Gleyber sitting was not sent. Because Verdugo did the exact same thing today where he didn't run to first base. These are problems that are continuously going on. And to me, that's a lack of good managing that falls on the manager. And it falls on the players. There needs to be more urgency.
I think Gleyber, what's the word? Expedited the benching. He was going to be benched eventually because they know something is wrong with him. Like something is clearly not right with this guy. He's just absolutely awful. And I think the play on Tuesday night made them be like, okay, we got to do this now, kind of a thing. I don't think he was benched completely because of that. I think it happened sooner. They were thinking about doing this because they know that something's up with Gleyber. There's obviously something up with him. I mean, like I've said a few times on the show, I don't think I've ever seen a walk year this bad. I mean, most guys usually step it up at least a bit or, do what Judge did 2 years ago, but that's out of the ordinary. But it's like the complete opposite of what Judge did 2 years ago in his walk year.
You knew this was coming. He wasn't playing well. You knew this was coming. The thing to me that again, I think, and you're right too, yesterday expedited it. Him walking to first base, it kind of gave him an out. And they'll never say this publicly because it's not really how professional sports works nowadays. Teams don't come through and managers don't come out publicly and say, oh, well, we're sitting him because of this. That would have played in the 70s, maybe in the 80s and 90s. It doesn't play now. With the modern day athlete and how I hate to use the word, but fragile these guys are, you can't hurt their egos, unfortunately. So that wasn't going to be said to Gleyber. You weren't going to say that loud, but it does feel like it was expedited by him walking to first base, which I'm fine with. I'm okay with benching him for that reason. Now you get into a fishy area, though, because now Verdugo did today, where he walked to first base. And again, that kind of stuff, when you see it on multiple guys in the lineup, it's really not a good look.
Yeah. We're going to talk more about Gleyber in segment 2. It's just, it's really not fun watching this team right now. I'm kind of glad I'm going away and I'm not going to be able to, I'll keep track of it, but I'm going to be in a different city and I'm not going to be able to watch them. So I need this break. In case you didn't know and you're tuning in, Brian's doing Fan Mail Friday by himself. So you guys have until 12 noon tomorrow to get the questions in. I will be on an Amtrak train heading north. I will try and work on getting the questions rounded up for Brian. There are a few of them already, but get your questions in, insiders, please, and on YouTube for that.
Ask whatever you want. I don't really, I don't have any bounds, right? You need relationship advice or advice in the Yankees. I'm here for you guys.
That's right. It doesn't have to be just baseball. It could be a whole bunch of stuff. Okay, so we're going to move on to segment 2, but don't forget, subscribe to the channel. Hit the like button on our videos. Hit the notification so you know when our videos go up. Reply to the pinned comment on our videos Monday through Thursday. Again, if you want your questions answered for Fan Mail Friday. And again, this week, Brian's doing it solo. Going to be fun. Or you can join the Locked On Yankees Insiders Club. There's a link in the description. You'll get text from us. You can text us questions or reactions like the past couple nights. And there's a 14-day free trial. So coming up next, we're discussing Gleyber even more. All right, so we're doing this live, people, and I'm gonna, we're doing this live. So I'm gonna edit all this stuff out of the audio version, but you get to see behind the curtain. Okay. All right. So here on Locked On Yankees, we pride ourselves on getting you the latest news for your team, whether it's the offseason, the draft, spring training, playoffs, injury updates. It's year round. But you know what else is year round? Collection season. Just because tax season is over doesn't mean the IRS will stop coming after you for unfiled taxes. The IRS can garnish your wages, levy your bank accounts, and even seize your property. So don't let the IRS target you. Let the licensed professionals and tax experts at Tax Network USA go to bat for you. With over 14 years experience and an A+ rating by the Better Business Bureau, Tax Network USA has saved their clients over $1 billion in tax debt. Whether you owe taxes, have complicated matters that require tax planning, or finally hit that parlay this season and need help correctly filing, call 1-800-549-1000 or visit tnusa.com/lockedon. You can see the link in the episode description below. And Locked On Yankees is also brought to you by eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience. What brings home the winning trophy is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. From superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more, whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only, exclusions apply, and eBay Guaranteed Fit is only available to U.S. customers. That is rare. I did a perfect live read for 2 of them live in front of 28 people. So, yay. Welcome back to Locked On Yankees. Locked On Sports Today is a free 24/7 sports streaming channel programmed for you every day to bring you the biggest stories without all the noise. Locked On Sports Today brings you can't-miss analysis, opinions, and news. Streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Don't forget, you can catch every pitch of the Yankees hometown broadcast with SiriusXM. Just download the SXM app and search the word Yankees. So let's talk more about Gleyber. It's such a great subject.
A little bit of an update for you guys because we are doing the show live. It's now 11-2. The Yankees are down, so they're getting getting poured on. Just kind of like the weather was.
Not enough.
No. Gleyber Torres has played in 80 games this year, which is the Yankees are playing in their 81st game right now. So he's played in every game this year. He has been healthy. You really can't complain about that throughout his career, and I think he's had really good years in his career. He's been an all-star. Put together really solid years, put together years where you thought that he could be a future member of this franchise for the long term. I was someone that after his second year in the league, I was saying, give him a 10-year contract right now, give him like an Ozzy Albies type treatment and see if he takes it. Quite frankly, the last few years have really changed things. He's struggled a lot. He's become a lackluster player. He hasn't nearly developed into the prospect that everyone thought he was going to become. He's got 7 home runs this year, 29 RBIs, which, by the way, when I read 7 home runs, it surprised me.
He has that many?
Exactly.
I thought he only had 4.
It feels like he has much less.
Yeah.
He's hitting 215. He's got a 294 on base. That's what concerns me even more. His slugging is 333. His OPS is 628. His WAR is 0.2. I mean, his numbers are atrocious. I mean, just flat out and simple. He's been that bad for the Yankees, and I'm not ready to give up on him. I don't want to move on from him, but I know the potential is there, and I've seen him play really well. But Stacey, we're seeing, and especially in a contract year, we're seeing him play as bad as we've ever seen him play.
Oh yeah,
he's been horrendous. He's not being a productive member of this team. With how good this offense has been so far this season, it's even more surprising with how he hasn't gotten in on the party at all at any point this year. No. I mean, again, he's one of the guys struggling, one of the many who are struggling. It's not just him, but he's part of the litany of that middle of that lineup that's just not performing right now. And that's a major problem for this team. It is.
Yeah.
It's got a big deal to do with this recent struggle. Again, it feels like right now below the number 3 hitter, they're done. They're toast. And that's including Verdugo.
Well, we saw that on Tuesday night. Judge hits that grand slam, and you're just thinking, all right, well, this is it.
They laid down and died.
They're not going to do anything.
They laid down and died. Simple as that. Like, they gave up. It was over for them. I hate being this guy, and I don't want to. I haven't been a fan of the manager, even when they're playing well. I think there's really bad decisions that he makes, and it feels like he's not in tune with the game that's being played right now most of the time. And this feels like, again, it feels like what it was in 2022. It feels like he has no pulse. That do I agree necessarily with our listener earlier that it's falling apart? No, not necessarily yet.
Right.
But do I think at these moments when it appears to be falling apart, it's on the manager to kind of like reel it back in, pull things together, and get these guys to, perk their heads up a little bit and realize, oh, this could get away from us? I do. And you're not seeing that out of the manager. Instead, in the press conferences, you're still hearing, love the way they played, we're right there, everything like that. No, come out and say they're playing terrible.
Seriously.
You know what I mean? Like call them on the carpet. They're big boys. Yeah. Aaron Judge signed a $300 million contract. Juan Soto's going to sign a $500 million contract. They can deal with it. The same thing with Gleyber Torres. I don't need to hear earlier today that he's going to sit for a mental reset. No, say he didn't run to first base yesterday. Quite frankly, he's been awful this season. We're sitting him.
Right.
But instead it feels like this manager, and part of the reason I believe he was hired for is he wants to preserve their feelings, and I think he likes being a liked manager.
Right. And he's a player's manager. He's not a strategic manager. That's why he drives us crazy it's just, I say this all the time. It's unbelievable to me that this man literally grew up around baseball. He was around baseball when he was in the womb, and
he has no feel for the game.
That's it. He doesn't have a feel for it. And it's so, he was lucky with the first couple of teams that he had. 2018, they make it to the division series. They get beaten by the Red Sox, who were cheating. And then 2019, that season was just ridiculous. I don't know how that team won 103 games, but they did, because every person they plugged in when people got hurt. So it was almost like, he had Gleyber hitting 38 home runs. So he had easier teams to deal with. And then when the adversity starts, some of the stuff that he did that didn't get too exposed in those early seasons are getting exposed badly now.
And another thing too, those good seasons they had in those teams. It was proven by the 2019 season when everyone and their mother got hurt and they wound up still winning 100 games. It was almost proven that year that, no pun intended, but a garbage can could have managed the team and won 100 games. It didn't matter who they put out there; they were hitting the ball.
I think 2019 was the hidden buzzer.
It's the problem is they had so much talent on those teams there when they were winning games regardless. But when things fell apart years later, he had no answer. And he's supposed to have a feel for the game because he's been around the sport for his entire life. Like you're saying, he should have as good of a feel for the game as anybody ever has had a feel for the game. And he doesn't. And it's on a daily basis. Again, with stuff like, Joe Torre was a player's manager. Players loved him. Look at the way they talk about him now. Jeter still calls him Mr. T. He's a beloved manager. But when it came publicly, he was not afraid to call guys out. Aaron Boone's afraid to hurt anyone's feelings. It's almost as if Aaron Boone doesn't want to be disliked when his managerial career ends. He wants these guys all to love him again. And you know what? I'd rather my team's players hate the manager and see them win a World Series rather than what goes on every single year with this team. They're currently reeling, and we still got to see in every press conference, I liked what I saw out of Cole. I liked what I saw out of Heel. He had a good man. He lost a few pitches. No, it was terrible. Come out there and say it. Say Gleyber can't hit the broadside of a barn. Say Verdugo has been terrible since that Red Sox home run seemed to get to his head. And that was the last game he was focused, because I don't think he had a hit since today. It's just, there's a lot of things going on with this team. Saying both of my catchers stink. And I'm not saying be that aggressive and say that out loud, but there's ways of communicating that message without saying, oh, they're amazing and they're hitting the ball well. Because at a certain point, you can't keep saying, oh, this he makes good contact. He's seen the ball well. You can't keep saying the same thing over and over again because we can all see that's not true.
Right. Yeah, it's rough. Like you said, I mean, it would be kind of funny, though, if Boone did come out and say something. But what I was mad about was they had all that time in the clubhouse during the rain delay. You'd think that maybe someone would have said something like, all right, we're not out of this. If we can get a couple people on base, like, we have the big guys, blah, blah. No.
Whatever message was to be had, Judge heard it. He came out and hit a home run immediately. But then that's the thing. He hits a home run immediately, and then the next inning, they give up 5 runs. Right. It just, they laid down and died. You can't, and it doesn't get easier. We went over the schedule on Monday. It doesn't get easier for them. They go right into a Blue Jays series. So are the Blue Jays necessarily playing well? No. But newsflash, look at who the Blue Jays are pitching in this series. Like, it's not exactly an easy stretch for them.
Yeah. We're going to talk about that in segment 3. But Gleyber definitely needed the benching. I feel like he needed it before. And like I said, that just kind of finally kicked them into gear because they, like, does anyone think maybe he did that purposely and was hoping that maybe they'd be like, all right, maybe they'll take me out? Because he just didn't even look like he wanted to play on Tuesday night, and when a player gets to that point, just bench them. Something's going on with him. Just bench him. And yeah. All right. So coming up next, we're talking about that Blue Jay series because there's no rest for the Yankees. They're going straight up to Toronto. Okay. I'll see you in a
Well, this episode of Locked On Yankees is brought to you by Booking.com. Yeah, it's summer and that means baseball, but summer also means travel. So why not mix in the two? Don't you think it's time you explored some of those cities around the country that you secretly wanted to learn about? And yes, Yankee fans, we're really talking to you. I'm going to the All-Star game in a few weeks. I'm discovering Dallas for the first time, and I use all my bookings on Booking.com. Planning a trip to Fenway to see the Yankees take on the Red Sox? Booking.com makes it a breeze, and it's not just about hotels. You could choose from a variety of accommodations like bed and breakfast, right out of Boston, vacation rentals, resorts, and more with all the convenience of Booking.com. And on Booking.com, you can find the perfect stay, even if you're baseball's rival city. And for Yankee fans, that means more than just Boston. It means Baltimore. It means Tampa, any city you want to go to. You can book hotels that overlook stadiums or book family-friendly resorts. Booking.com has so many choices across the U.S. for your summer travels this MLB season. The right stay can make you a fan of any U.S. city, even your rivals. Book today on Booking.com, on the site, or in the Booking.com app. And Locked On Yankees is also brought to you by LinkedIn. Are you struggling to close deals? Well, business-to-business selling is tougher than ever, and that's why I'm here to tell you about LinkedIn Sales Navigator. LinkedIn Sales Navigator is a sales intelligence platform that helps professionals effectively prospect and engage high-value customers, drive higher revenue, and increase sales performance. Sales Navigator will help you target the right buyers, surface key signals such as job changers or which accounts you should prioritize, and shows you hidden allies so you can find those buyers that are most likely to convert. It's fueled by LinkedIn's 1 billion member platform. Sales Navigator gives you the most up-to-date first-party data, enabling you to unblock those conversations with the people that matter. So right now, you can try LinkedIn Sales Navigator and get a 60-day free trial at linkedin.com/lockedon. That's linkedin.com/one-word-locked-on for a 60-day free trial. Let LinkedIn Sales Navigator help you sell us like a superstar today. Just go to linkedin.com/lockedon and get started. Tell you every single day that Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube, but now it's also available on the free Amazon Fire TV channels app. And Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows that are covering every league. Find Locked On Sports Today, now available on the free Fire TV channels app. And remember that you can catch every pitch of the Hometown Yankees broadcast with SiriusXM. Just download the SXM app and search the word Yankees. Guys, tomorrow by noon, reminder, you have to get your questions in by noon so Stacey can have her fun on Amtrak. And get them into me. Tomorrow will be a solo venture. I'll be doing Family Friday by myself for the first time. And you guys can submit whatever questions you want. I will answer whatever you want. If you want to make it personal, you want me to fix your relationship, you want me to fix your cooking, you want me to fix how you do house chores, take care of a puppy. I'm really experienced on that right now. Or questions on the Yankees. I'd be happy to answer any one of them.
How's she doing? Is she there?
She's somewhere I'm sure, destroying a pillow of mine or anything. She gets very mad when the Yankees lose too, so it's been a rough few days.
Yeah.
Yankees Blue Jays preview. I think it's notable to talk about these pitching matchups because Blue Jays pitchers have kind of, sort of, in a way, righted themselves from the terrible start they had start the year, and they've been good enough where there could be some bad matchups coming up for the Yankees, and I want to discuss this. Rodon, 9-4 with a 3.86. That 3.86 is what's really concerning because that ERA was in the 2s 2 starts ago. Rodon has been awful in his last 2 starts, Stacey. I mean, let's call it like it is.
Yeah.
He's been terrible, lots of earned runs, not going deep into games. His ERA, again, was in the mid-2s 2 starts ago, and it's almost a 1.5 higher. Really not a good sign. He's going up against Jose Berrios, who's 6-6, goes deep into games, getting 12 decisions so far, and a 3.43 ERA. I don't love the way this matchup looks for them. It's a good opportunity for Rodon against the lineup that doesn't hit very well, but neither does the Yankees lineup.
Mm-hmm. It'll be interesting. Let's see, right. The Yankees took 2 out of 3 at home. They lost 2 out of 3 in Toronto the last time they met. This 4-game series are just scary, especially right now with the way they're playing. It's just
especially with them getting in late tonight, right? They're going to get into Toronto at 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning. They'll have a lot of time to sleep, and then they got a 7 o'clock game. You go to game 2. This is all going on over the weekend, by the way, where Stroman pitches. He's 7-3, so he goes deep and gets wins. They do win when Stroman pitches, weirdly enough. 3.15 ERA. He's going against Yusei Kikuchi, who's 4-7 with a dreadful exactly 4 ERA. Not a great sign for the Yankees because once that ERA gets over 3.99, they struggle.
Yep. They might have a better chance against Berrios and Bassett at this point, and the Kikuchi and Gausman starts are going to be the ones where they're shut out, or they're each guy's going to pitch 8 innings and only give up 1 hit.
Because would that surprise anybody?
Right.
Game 3 Cortez will go. Now that scares me because it's an Nestor Cortez start, not in Yankee Stadium. For some reason, the guy pitches like an ace at Yankee Stadium. And for some reason, when he's out of Yankee Stadium, it inflates the ERA. He's 4-6 with a 3.4 ERA. Not gonna lie, his ERA feels lower than it feels. Right? I mean, the ERA looks lower than it actually feels this year. I feel like he feels like a 4 ERA guy this year. And 3.4 is lower than I don't feel like Rodon's ERA is higher than Cortez's.
Yeah, it's those last couple of starts that bumped it up above Cortez, where Cortez is kind of evened out a little bit over the last few starts, so he hasn't had his ERA bump up too much.
And he'll see Chris Bassett, the former Met, 6-6 with a 3.45 ERA, has really had a solid season for the Blue Jays. And then game 4, you'll get Garrett Cole. Again, I'm not concerned about Garrett Cole's last start, even though everyone seems to be. He's still figuring things out. He didn't get a proper spring training. It's tough for him, but I think he'll be fine. For what it's worth, he's got a 9 ERA right now, but that's not worth looking into. He's an early pitcher in the season. He goes against Kevin Gausman, who's 6-6 with a 4.26 ERA. In most years for Gausman, that's a terrible ERA, but I will tell you this, Stacey. 4.26 is, again, right in the sweet spot if the Yankees can't sniff that.
Right. Yeah, it's just amazing to me looking at these records. Berrios 6-6, Kikuchi 4-7, Bassett 6-6, Gausman 6-6. And a lot of times, Gausman came out and said something about the offense a couple weeks ago. He's like, it's hard to win games when the guys aren't hitting. I mean, he didn't word it exactly like that, but he basically said that. And it was just like he actually called out the offense. And I know the Yankees are all about good vibes and stuff, but I kind of wish one of these guys would be like, hey, it'd be great if someone other than Judge was hitting home runs right now for us.
Sometimes that stuff works, right? Like it gives you a little kick in the butt, and that teams need that kind of stuff. Again, this is not a high school team. This is not a Pop Warner team in football. They are not kids. They're not going to fall and crawl into a ball and weep and die.
Right.
This is a professional baseball team of, let me remind you, players who make millions of dollars to play a child's game. Sometimes calling guys out on the carpet, they're grown men. They can handle it, and it works. I mean, Giancarlo Stanton's been called out in the past before, and look what it's done for him. He's gotten hot streaks every single time afterwards. These guys can handle that. And no one's saying call out Judge. No one's saying call out Soto. But would it really hurt to call out Gleyber Torres? Put it this way. If you called out Gleyber Torres and he continued to play poorly and the call out didn't work, would it matter? Would it make a difference? He's playing horrible anyway. Right. I just think a lot of the times this kind of stuff works. You see it in football all the time. You see it in basketball all the time where teams get called out. Why don't they do it in baseball? But instead we have a manager who thinks that, cuddling and making people feel good is the way to go. Has that worked in his first, 5-6 years of him managing the team? Why would it work now? Stacey, one more time, you guys all that are listening, we really thank you guys because there's plenty of guys in the live stream right now. You could join the Locked On Yankees Insiders Club. There's a link in the description under the YouTube video and a 14-day free trial that comes with when you guys sign up. Tomorrow, it'll be a Fan Mail Friday with me solo, so submit your questions by noon. I'm open to any kind of questions you guys want to go with, really. I'll answer anything for you. You get texts from us. You can text us questions, or you can leave your questions under the pinned comment also below in our YouTube video to get your questions answered for Fan Mail Friday, again, by noon tomorrow. And if you join the Insiders Club, you get top priority. So those questions will get answered. But we'll still answer your questions if you leave them on YouTube below. But there's a better chance we'll get to them if you answer it on the Insiders. And remember that you can catch every pitch of the Yankees hometown broadcast with SiriusXM. You just gotta download that SXM app and search the word Yankees. That'll do it for me. I'll be back tomorrow. That'll do it for Stacey for the week. I'm Brian McKeon.
I'm Stacey Gotsoulias. Thank you for joining us for the live stream. And we'll do this again at some point, but we had to do this now because the game still isn't over. It's the bottom of the 8th. It's 12-2. Like, we would have been recording at 1 a.m. at this point. So we had to get this over with. So thank you for sticking with us. Thank you for subscribing to us. And if you haven't subscribed yet, do that now. So have a good night. Hopefully the Yankees won't get embarrassed in Toronto.